Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kelly Counts Macros podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Mosdy, and today we're talking about one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when it comes to weight loss and body composition. And honestly, it's what keeps people stuck. You're focusing too much on the numbers and not enough on the habits. And don't get me wrong, I love the data, the macros, the calorie targets, the graphs, but the truth is, it's not the numbers that keep you healthy, it's your habits that keep you healthy. The numbers just help fine tune the process. So let's unpack this. What's really happening? When you start a fat loss phase, you think, if I can just hit my macros perfectly, stay in my deficit, and see that number drop on the scale, I've won. But here's the problem. That approach only works short term if the habits behind those numbers aren't built. Science tells us that 95% of people who lose weight regain it within 3 years, not because they didn't track right, but because they never built the lifestyle habits that made maintaining it natural. Tracking teaches you awareness. Habits create automation. Numbers educate you. Habits protect you. Habits protect you. You need both. You need all of them, but the habits are the foundation. That is what protects you. So, your brain, right? It's wired to conserve energy. When something becomes a habit, your prefrontal cortex, the part that does all the thinking and the decision making, gets to relax. That's why brushing your teeth doesn't require motivation, it's automatic. Food and fitness can become that way if you build it consistently around simple and repeatable routines. So, research shows that once behaviors are repeated in the same context for around 66 days, they start to become automatic. So, when you automate habits like hitting your protein, walking daily, strength training, prepping food, going to bed on time, your results no longer depend on willpower. They depend on systems. So you need that system in place. Our brains, they're wired for efficiency. They crave routine. They crave predictability. So when you repeat a behavior often enough, your brain moves it from the thinking part, that's that prefrontal cortex, to the automatic part, which is the basal ganglia. That's how brushing your teeth or locking your door takes zero mental effort. So the same thing can happen with nutrition and movement, but only when you stop relying on motivation and start building those systems. That's exactly what we do inside of the shred, and then we cement it in the Clubhouse membership. James Clear, he's one of my favorites, right? Author of Atomic Habits. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So, if fat loss is your goal, your system is the series of habits you perform every day that support that goal. Pre-tracking, prepping protein, walking daily, strength training, drinking your water, managing stress, getting enough sleep. When that system is solid, the goal takes care of itself. Having that solid system in place causes the weight loss that you can sustain. The big word is sustain, right? The dieting mentality does not. You know what else I notice as a coach? The dieting mentality, it sneaks in all the time, even when you think you've moved past it. So when I hear someone say, how long will this take? I hear a dieting mentality. When I hear the scale's not moving fast enough, I hear dieting mentality. When I hear I was good all week, but the weekend gets me, that's a dieting mentality. When somebody says, I'll just start over Monday, that's a dieting mentality. Okay. When they tell me I hit my goal and then I see them go back to their old ways because they had that dieting mentality. So that mindset is focused on the finish line, right? A temporary phase instead of building the lifestyle that keeps the results. A lifestyle mentality says, I'm learning what works for me, what works for my body. It says, I'm adjusting, I'm not quitting. It says, I can do these habits in some form forever. So, 5 reasons habits matter more than numbers. Numbers fluctuate, habits don't. The scale goes up and down for 100 reasons. I have many podcasts on the scale. Go back and take a look at, I'll listen to those episodes, hormones, sodium, digestion. But habits create trends. Consistent actions are what smooth out the ups and downs in the clubhouse, right? We swallow that magic pill. We wear the consistency crown inside of the membership. That's because consistency is the real magic pill. It's the boring, the daily, the unglamorous stuff that works. So your weight may spike overnight with a high sodium meal, but when you've been hitting your protein, walking daily, strength training, staying in your calorie range for weeks, the trend always reveals the truth. Habits are the foundation underneath every transformation. The scale just reports the surface level. Habits outlast motivation. You hear, I'm just going to wait around until I get motivated. I'm not motivated today on the couch. You won't always feel motivated to track, weigh your food, walk, log your day. But if you have automatic habits like packing your lunch or walking after dinner, the results continue. With action comes motivation. You can't sit around waiting for it. Motivation is a feeling. Habits are a system. So motivation might show up once or twice a week, but the system you build through repetition carries you through the other 5 days. When you act first, even when you don't feel like it, you generate the momentum, and momentum builds motivation. It's a loop. Take action, feel accomplished, want to do it again. The clients who crush their goals aren't the most motivated. They're the most consistent at doing what works when they don't feel like it. Habits reduce decision fatigue. Every time you ask, what should I eat? Your brain drains energy. That's why meal prep eliminates that. That's why pre-logging, pre-tracking eliminates that. The fewer decisions you make, the easier it is to stay consistent. So Mary, she's in our shred right now. She's a busy teacher. She has a lot of kids, and she decided this week she was going to meal prep, have everything made, weighed out, grab and go. She sends me a message, Kelly, why didn't I do this sooner? I have no stress and I'm not hungry. So, teachers out there, who wants to have less stress and not be hungry? And it was simple. We put a habit in place, we put a system in place. Okay. Now she's not winging it. She feels good at the end of the day. She's not craving things. She doesn't feel like she failed. So she started prepping inside of the shred. And this is when that mental chaos disappeared. She made her decisions in advance when her brain was calm and logical, not emotional and hungry. That's what habits do. They take the guesswork out of your day and free up that mental energy for actually living life. Don't you want to spend your mental energy on other things? Habits build. You don't want to diet forever. You want to become the kind of person who naturally eats well, moves daily, manages stress. You want to live the lifestyle of a lean, healthy person. You have to become the person who does the habits required to maintain the body comp that you want. So many people ask me, like, why my body comp never really changes. I don't fluctuate, I don't yo yo. It's because I have a system in place and I have habits in place. It's nothing more complicated than that. All right. This is the difference between temporary change and true transformation. Dieting says I have to. A lifestyle says I get to. If you've been around me long enough, you know that I work on rewiring the brain. That is what's different about me. So When your habits reflect the identity of a strong, confident, balanced person, that's when you stop chasing the results and start living them. You'll start saying things like, I'm someone who walks every day, or I'm someone who hits my protein goal. So that shift makes maintaining your results feel natural, not forced. Habits, they safeguard against that regain. So right now I have a shred going on and I'm praying that everybody joins the Clubhouse membership because what I'm fearing is after the shred, they will quit, Thanksgiving, Christmas hits, and they will gain all the weight back and they will feel like they have to restart January 1st. Okay? Because when the tracking stops, because it will at some point, your habits keep you from slipping back into the old patterns. Think of habits like autopilot for maintenance. In my Clubhouse membership, Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse membership, I walk you into maintaining. We call it reversing Ralphie to maintaining Mandy so that you don't get scared and you don't gain the weight back. Habits are built-in guardrails. They protect you when life gets hectic, when travel happens, when holidays roll around. You can't always control your schedule or your circumstances, but if you have the built daily habits, walking, prepping, lifting, hitting protein, getting your sleep, they become second nature. And that's what I mean when I talk about maintaining Mandy. It's the mindset, it's the systems that you have in place that keep you from yo-yoing. Because maintenance is not about perfection, it's about having strong enough systems in place that even your off days don't undo your progress. So, what are some ways that you can apply this starting today? Number one, create a regular eating pattern. If you've been around me long enough, I don't tell you when to start and stop eating. I don't believe in that, but I do believe in not skipping meals because I believe that that leads to binge later on. So, eat every 3 to 4 hours, pair a protein with a plant at each meal, and close your kitchen at night. Close it. Be done with it. Regular eating patterns regulate the hormones, that ghrelin and leptin that I always talk about, and prevent that extreme swing, right? That leads to overeating. Your blood sugar stays stable, your energy stays consistent, your cravings fade because your body trusts that food is coming. You can literally train your metabolism through the structure of this. Start with food shopping and batch prep. You don't have to meal prep 5-star meals. We have these incredible, yummy, family-friendly meals inside of the clubhouse. Just cook once, make double or triple, have go-to proteins like chicken, ground turkey, tofu, eggs, plus, grab and go fruits and veggies and some fun foods. Batch cooking saves time, stress, calories. It's not glamorous, right? But it's practical. You can even just buy it. You don't even have to make it. So think of it as building your nutrition insurance policy. When you already have your protein and your produce ready, you remove the number one reason people fall off plan: convenience. Set up your environment for success. If Reese's are sitting on your counter and you can't control yourself, they have those amazing pumpkins right now, you'll eat them, right? So put them away. Put them in the freezer. If veggies are chopped and ready, you'll eat those instead. So research shows we eat up to 70% more of whatever food is visible in our environment. So put it away. Put it back in the fridge, back in the cupboard, back in the pantry. So out of sight, out of mouth. Out of sight, out of mouth. Your environment will always win over your willpower. That's why the healthiest people don't rely on discipline, they rely on design. If your kitchen, your desk, your car, if they support your goals, your choices will follow. So think about your kitchen, your desk, your car. How can they support your goals? This is the simplest change, right? Like putting fruit on the counter and junk food out of sight, all right? This can cut hundreds of mindless calories a week. Have the easy high protein options available, whether that's protein shakes or protein bars or yogurt or tuna packets or eggs. When life gets busy, convenience wins every single time. So make sure the convenient option aligns with your goals and is available. So protein is your hunger insurance. It keeps you full, supports the muscles, and stabilizes the energy. So when you have high protein options that are quick and portable, you eliminate the excuses. That's why I tell my clients, if you can throw it in your tote bag, you will use it. Your macro-friendly diaper bag, all right? If you can throw it in there, you will use it. Automate your movement. Okay. Tie walking or strength training to existing habits, like after coffee, lunch, work. Movement doesn't have to be a huge event. The people who walk consistently, even just 20 to 30 minutes daily, sustain weight loss best over time. Habit stacking makes movement part of your life, not an afterthought. If you make it automatic, I will always walk after dinner, or I will stretch while the coffee brews. It becomes as routine as brushing your teeth. And the beauty of walking, it's available to everyone. You don't need motivation, it's free. You just need a system that reminds you to move. The biggest mistake I see is focusing on the scale instead of the system. The scale is just one piece of feedback. It's data, it's not direction, but so many people still let that number dictate their emotions, their confidence, and even their effort. This tells me that they still have that dieting mentality. Okay, they see it go up a pound and think, I've failed. But what if that 1 pound was just water or inflammation or poop? What if it had nothing to do with fat loss at all? And the truth is, it doesn't, right? The scale doesn't show your effort, your choices, or your consistency. It only reflects one tiny moment in time, 1 second, one tiny moment in time. And if you keep chasing that number, you'll miss the habits that actually change your body comp and your mindset. So habits and systems are what make results repeatable. You don't lose weight by stepping on a scale. You lose it by following a system that works. That's what we do inside of the shred and inside of the Clubhouse membership. Consistently hitting your protein, drinking your water, staying in a calorie deficit, walking daily, staying in that range. That's your system. The scale is simply feedback. When you rely on the system instead of the emotion, you stop overreacting to those daily fluctuations and start trusting the process. The people who win long term aren't the ones who have the fastest drop on the graph. They're the ones who build the habits that make progress automatic. The habits are what makes the weight loss stick. The system is what keeps it off. So just think of your habits like your money habits. If you only looked at your budget for 1 month, you'd think, oh, I'm rich, or you'd think I'm broke. But over a year, it's your spending and saving habits that determine your success, not one snapshot. Your macros and calories are your budget, but your habits are the spending patterns that make it long term. So let's recap. Number one, numbers teach you awareness. Number two, habits build the lifestyle of a lean person. Three, focusing on becoming the kind of person who does the habits. Four, simplify your routine so it's repeatable anywhere, not just when life's perfect. Five, build consistency first. Perfection never lasts, it doesn't exist. Stop chasing perfect numbers, start chasing perfect effort. If you can build habits that are flexible, repeatable, and align with your goals, you'll never have to start over again. If this episode hit home for you, share it with a friend or post in your stories. Tag me. I want to know if you liked it. And if you're inside of the Clubhouse, get ready for Slay Strong. It starts December 1st. Kate and I are going to help you finish the year strong, building habits that protect your results through the holidays and beyond. I will put the link for the Clubhouse in the show notes. Let me help you build your system so that you finally lose the weight and keep it off. Remember, you're always doing better than you think you are. Keep showing up, keep learning, and keep stacking those habits. See you next time.